Please excuse my soapy head. I want to show you what I do post-shave.
Shave it up!
Hey everybody, Clean Shaver here. Welcome to part 3 of my pre, during, and post-shave routine. This week, I'm telling you what I do after my shave. So I had just finished shaving my face, my head, and now I'm going to walk you through what I do after I shave. So first, what I do is after I'm sure that I'm done, actually I might need to clean up a little spot here. Let's see, just real quick here. There we go, that was going to bug me. All right, now that I know I'm done, first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and rinse off. Some people like to rinse off with warm water, some people like to rinse off with cool water. Probably depends on the time of year for me, but I just do whatever water comes out of the tap. It doesn't really matter to me. So let's rinse. One nice thing about rinsing is that while you're doing it, you get to feel how your shave was. And you can kind of touch things up a little bit. I just noticed that there were a couple little rough spots, so I took care of that. Now, next, I'll take care of stopping any bleeding that may have occurred during that. In this case, I think I'm pretty good. I can't see the back of my head, so let's do the test. No blood. We're good. Okay, so rinse off. We're good there. If I have got any cuts, depending on the severity of the cut, I'll either use some people like to use an Allen block or a styptic pencil if it's really bleeding a lot. I generally, if it's just a few little weepers, I don't really worry about it. If I am bleeding really badly, I hate styptic pencils. They work really well, but I hate them because they sting like you know where. Instead, I like the old fallback of toilet paper. It works. Okay, there's a little pinch of toilet paper. Put it on there until it's dry. Pluck it off. If you need to get dressed, leave it on while you're getting dressed, and then before you head out the door, make sure you take it off. I would hate for you to show up to work or somewhere with toilet paper on your head. Then, what I usually do is after I have stopped any bleeding or anything like that, I use a post-shave treatment, usually an aftershave balm or an aftershave splash. In this case, I'm shaving at night and I don't necessarily need a splash, and so I'm just going to use an aftershave balm. And I just shaved with Soap Commander Devotion, so I'm going to go ahead and use the pairing Soap Commander Devotion aftershave balm. Now, there are lots of different aftershave balms you can use, and you probably have a favorite one. I really like Soap Commander. I've tried others that work really well too. So go ahead and apply it. Now, there's some debate about whether you should do the balm first and then the splash after, or a splash first and then the balm after. Doesn't matter. To me, it doesn't really matter. I generally go balm first and then the splash afterward. That's just me. It really depends on what you like. Okay? Once I've done that, then I'll put that aside, and now it's time to clean up. Okay, so first, let's go ahead and rinse and dry off the razor. All right? Now I'll bend you down here to show you what I mean. Now you can see my sink, there's some hair and stuff in the bottom there, so let's go ahead and clean that up really quick. My wife gets mad at me if I don't, so make sure that splash a little water around here, make sure it all gets down the drain. Okay, now we're good. So let's rinse off the razor first. So in this case, I'm actually going to be tossing the blade because it's on its last use, but let's rinse it out. You want to make sure that you thoroughly clean your razor when you're done. Some people like to just rinse it off with it all put together and put it away, but in this case, since I'm taking the blade out, I don't really need to worry about rinsing it. But it is good for you to rinse off the blade if you plan on using it again. Just make sure you're very careful handling it. Okay? Make sure that you rinse off your razor thoroughly, and you just want to make sure that there's minimal soap buildup and things like that. Okay? You don't always need to rinse off the handle, but whatever. Okay, so we do that, and then if you are going to be reusing your blade, go ahead and just give it a little pat on your towel. You see how there's a little bit of stuff that came off there. You want to reduce that. You want to, especially if you're using high carbon steel, you want to make sure that it's dry, and then you give it a good pat down before you put it back in the razor. Okay. In this case, like I said, I'm going to be tossing it, but Then dry off your base plate. You don't have to do it in this order. This is how I do it. Dry off your top cap. And you're not going to get every little teeny bit of moisture, but just make sure that's dry. Okay. And you also want to reduce any soap buildup or anything like that. And then dry off your handle. Okay. If you are using a straight razor, make sure you dry it off thoroughly, because the last thing you want is for any water to get down in the pin or anything like that, because if you have high mineral content or anything like that, it could really corrode the pins of your razor and cause a lot of problems. So you will extend the life of your razor, the life and beauty of your razor, by rinsing it thoroughly and drying it after every shave. Next thing that I'll do is I will rinse out my brush. So in this case, there's still quite a bit of soap left in it, and I don't do a lot to rinse it out. I just kind of let the water run through it from base to tip. So I'll set it down like that, not like that into the water, because that's just forcing more soap down in. I like to let it rinse down, if you can see that, like that, and just kind of let the water run through it. And generally not too hot, because if you get too hot of water, A, it's not comfortable for your hand to use, but B, it can loosen the glue and make it kind of difficult to hang on. You can also damage the fibers and make it so that you increase the hair loss in your brush. Okay, so I rinse it out thoroughly and just shake it off like that, and then I'll give it a few swipes on the towel just to kind of rinse it, or to get the majority of the moisture out. And then you have the choice, if you have a brush hanger, you can hang your brush upside down, or in this case, I don't have a brush hanger that's tall enough for this one, so I just kind of set it there, and I haven't had any problems with it. Okay, I'll also rinse out the soap. Now, the reason I do that, some people will think, oh, you're wasting soap. Whatever. The part of A, I've got tons of soap, and B, the amount of soap that I'll rinse off there is so minimal that I really don't worry about it. So I'm going to go ahead and rinse that out, and then make sure that you let your soap dry. In this case, what I do is I set it on the corner of my sink so that it's tilted. A, it's not flat, it's tilted on its side just ever so slightly, and that lets some of the water drain down out of the soap and allows it to air dry. I'll usually leave it there overnight or for about 24 hours. Now, let's talk about putting things away. Okay, so let's talk about putting this stuff away. Now, we've already thoroughly dried and cleaned the razor, so we can just put it back. If you have left the blade in it, I recommend putting it in a more secure place, especially if you have kids. In my case, you saw my case back here in my first video, I have a section that is locked and unavailable to the kids. And so if I have left a blade in the razor, I will make sure to put it on that side. Then I'll add the lock onto the little keyhole there. And that makes it so that I feel better about storing my razors with a blade in them. If they don't have a blade, I'll put it over on that side that's not locked. I'm not too worried about it. But that just gives me a little bit more peace of mind. Okay? Second thing, if you are disposing of your blade, what I do is I have what I call a blade bank. And really all this is I think this was a whole eggs container. I think it was a dried powdered eggs can a while back. I don't know. I really don't remember. But what I've done is I've hot glued the lid on so my kids can't get into it. And I've cut a little slit into the top hole. And then drop it down in, and it's secure. I don't have to worry about it. You can hear I've got a lot of blades in there. And that will store, hundreds of blades, really. And you don't have to worry about it. It's great. And I keep that underneath my sink, but I don't have to worry. Anyway, you can do what you like. Then, it's really just leave things out to dry and put away what you can. And then also, if you're a good husband, boyfriend, whatever, or wife, if you're a woman and you're learning to shave, whatever, make sure that you clean up. I like to, I've splashed water all over the countertop, and so I make sure that I dry it off, get it clean, and hang up the towel to dry. Now, if the towel has gotten particularly gross during my shave, I'll swap it out for a clean one. It's just courteous. This isn't my bathroom, even though all my shaving stuff is in here. I'm not the only one that uses it, so I like to make sure that all my stuff isn't sitting out and that I clean up after myself. It's just courteous to my wife and my kids. Put the glasses back on. That is my post-shave routine. I hope you guys enjoyed this series of videos. If you haven't watched the pre-shave and during the shave routines. I'll put them down in the description below. Make sure that you check them out. And also, I'd like to know what you do. What works for you for a post-shave routine? Also, if you haven't taken the survey for the pre-shave routine and during the shave routine, make sure you take those surveys too. They're down in the description as well. So find all three, and if you would, go take them all. And I know that people that see the survey results after you would like to see what you do as well. So this will be really helpful and really beneficial for everybody that participates. So that's it for me. Thanks everybody for watching. Don't forget to like, favorite, subscribe. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Google+, Voicebyte, Snapchat, Kick, and I think that's all of them. Don't forget to subscribe and be smooth and shave it up. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks everybody.